Hello and welcome. My name is Tom Shima, and today is Tuesday, August 11th. Last time on Persona A Day, it was the first day of our week of summer classes. Mitsuru decided to sign us all up for some extra academic help, and classes began yesterday. I was able to gain a little bit of academic progress. It wasn't enough to gain a new rank in academics, but it was not as odd to be back in class as I thought it might feel like. It still did take up our entire daytime. And on the evening side of things, Chairman Akutsuki wants the team and I to get health checkups. It sounds like my appointment is later this week, but with different members being out for the evening, that kind of takes exploring Tartarus off the table. So I was able to relax around the dorm, chat with those that were there, and just kind of take it easy. Summer classes continue again today. We have more team member health checkups in the evening. So I wonder what we'll learn in class today. Will everyone's checkups go well? How does the team feel about this busy schedule? Find out on today's episode of Persona A Day. Okay, so here we are back in Persona. This is where we left off yesterday. It was a pretty quick day, and there's a chance it might be about as fast today. We'll see. It was back in class, which felt a little different, but not as weird as I thought it was going to feel. It's the middle of summer break, so there's that thought that it would just be such a jarring change to be back in the classroom, but it really didn't feel that out of place. And like you can see here, I gained a little bit of progress towards my academics. I'm still at the smart level, which I will take, but we'll just keep working on that. But that was how Monday wrapped up. Kind of weird for the day to end at school, but not the first time we've seen that this playthrough. But here we are then catching up to Tuesday the 11th. It's the second day of summer school. It looks like we're starting where we ended the last day. Looks like it's Mr. Edogawa teaching us about magic or some sort today, though, so that's always a fun unit.
Let's get on with today's lesson.
I know it's hot, everyone, but let's just try and get through class. Focus pocus. Still, who would have thought people would actually attend this course over the summer? You sure are a curious lot. I'm not really sure what to make of that. Well, anyway, let's talk about something interesting today. All of you future magicians will want to pay close attention. Today's subject is tarot. That's right, those cards often used in fortune-telling. Despite originating in 15th century Europe as normal playing cards, tarot cards evolved into tools of divination. There are a variety of tarot card decks, including the Marcel and the Rider decks. But today, in honor of the great Crowley, we'll be using the Thoth deck.
So, continuing on.
First, let's talk about the composition of the deck. The modern 78-card tarot deck is divided into two parts. There are 22 major arcana, the face cards, and 56 minor arcana, or number cards. The minor arcana are also sometimes called pip cards. The major arcana feature a variety of illustrations on their faces. Beginning with the Fool and ending with the Universe, they tell a story in numerical order that represents the individual's journey through life. Each major arcana represents a stage on that journey. And each stage represents an event an individual must experience to achieve wholeness.
Let's do just that.
They are all important, so let's take a look at each of the 22 cards one by one. The first card, numbered 0, is the Fool. It represents the beginnings and struggles and suggests infinite possibilities. In other words, the beginning of life. The next card is the Magician. Represents action and initiative, but also immaturity. The High Priestess represents contemplation and inner knowledge. The Empress represents both motherhood and maternal love, as well as one's vitality. The Emperor is an opposing card. It represents fatherhood, as well as leadership and decision-making skills. The Hierophant represents formality and knowledge. It's symbol for religion.
That is to say...
The Lovers represents choice. Here the individual finally begins to develop a conscience. The Chariot represents the individual's victory, but only a momentary one. Justice is exactly what it sounds like, knowing what is right and what is wrong. The Hermit represents self-reflection. In other words, searching for answers deep within one's heart. Fortune represents fate and the opportunities it brings. Strength represents both passion and self-control. It is depicted as power with reason. The Hanged Man reflects the individual's inability to take action. Spiritual death awaits the individual with the 13th card, which is aptly named Death. Death is considered a transitional card. With death, the old ends and new begins.
All right.
Now, let's move on to what happens following the transition. Temperance is the balancing of opposites. Opening one's eyes to the world allows for growth. And then, an encounter with the devil is where one faces temptation. At the tower, the individual's values will start to collapse. It seems as if there's nothing to believe in. The individual then finds a glimmer of hope in the star, granting one peace and serenity. In turn, this makes one vulnerable to the moon's illusions, which gives way to fear and trepidation. But the individual may be rewarded with the bright future by the sun, which signifies true achievement. Judgment awaits the individual at the journey's end when looking back on the paths one has traveled. The final card is the universe, which represents the individual reaching full awareness. And that is the growth of an individual as explained by the tarot cards. Perhaps all this talk about your life doesn't hit home with you young folks just yet,
Well then.
Well, now you can use all 78 cards to divine your future in detail. But most people only use the 22 major arcana. Okay, next let's talk about fortune telling using the major arcana. First, you will need to shuffle the cards. If a card is reversed, its meaning will change. Now, this is important, so pay attention. Mr. Edogawa continues to drone on and on. Despite the summer heat, I managed to pay attention to the lecture. A couple more points of progress towards academics. Still sitting at the smart level, but making progress. And just like that, that is all we're going to get to see for Tuesday. So let's head back to the desk and talk about it a bit. Okay, here we are. So, as quick as it was, that was the end of Tuesday the 11th. It was still a good day, and I've said it before this playthrough, I always like Mr. Edogawa's lessons. It was kind of nice that they actually did give us a little bit to see as well. It could have been just like yesterday, where it was just a really on-rails scene of a teacher talking to us and then being awarded some academic points. So it was a little nice to have a little bit of a lesson. It really fits in well with the game as well, considering the importance of the tarot throughout. But it's definitely a unit that I kind of find fascinating. I'm sure that's one of those, as someone makes their way through life, they start to appreciate things differently like that. So seeing that fool's journey all the way through and trying to apply that to your own level of, where am I and what have I done? What challenges have I faced? How have I addressed them? It changes as time goes on and you have new things to look back on in your own life, or things to look forward to, but I find it fascinating, so a lot of credit to the game for that. We saw our day of class. I gained a little bit of academic progress. And that is all there is. There's still the rest of the team is having their health checkups at the hospital. So again, no venturing to Tartarus tonight. So it's probably just a nice day to stay inside. It's probably nice and warm outside. It's the middle of summer after all. So we probably got back to the dorm, and those of us that could stay home just watch TV maybe or read a book. Nothing life changing. Just kind of staying inside, just having that casual summer. Maybe reviewing some topics for classes or what have you, but just making our evening whatever we made of it. I mean, and that's all interpreted. We didn't get to see that, but it was a full day. So as much as it was just a 5-minute stream for this part of it, it feels like if we think of the day as a whole day, it's easier to apply that whole concept to things and see that our character and everybody in the game, they actually did have the whole day. So we'll get to tomorrow and be able to look back a little bit deeper than just one conversation about the tarot cards. That is the end of Tuesday, August 11th. So I want to thank you all so much for being here with me today. It means so much to have an audience. So thank you, thank you, thank you. My name is Tom Shima. I stream this Persona a Day series live every day at 12:30 Eastern Time. So anytime you want to be here live, I would be happy to have you. I do also upload each of my day's playthroughs to my YouTube channel. So if it's easy for you to watch at that pace, those will always be available there for you. And so let's all just have a great Tuesday. Let's kind of apply some of the lessons from the game in our day today and just try to look at the world around you and your place in it and try to just be mindful of everything going on. Try to take your journey and make it your own and enjoy it however it approaches it. I'll try to do the same, and let's both trade notes next time we come together. I've been Tom Shima. Thank you so much for being here. I hope I can see you tomorrow as the series continues. And until our paths cross again, I hope you take care. Thank you very much, and goodbye.